सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्. Okay, so any questions, clarifications up to now until the 30th verse?
No, Swamiji.
Okay, I had received one question online, little bit in terms of dhyanam, samadhi, etc. Now, if you are talking purely the yoga paradigm, dharana is focus, paying attention to. It can be on anything, including your work, etc. Dhyana is saguna brahma vishaya manasa vyapara even in yoga because Ishvara pranidhanam is there. Therefore, even in yoga, dhyanam is manasa vyapara. Japa dhyanam, manasa puja, etc. All this is dhyanam. In yoga, mark my words carefully, in yoga, the practice of completely quietening your mind, ceasing all thoughts, is called samadhi. Therefore, the practice is savikalpa samadhi. When you are practicing to quieten all thinking, using a chant, using your breath, whatever means you are using it, okay, that complete cessation. In Buddhist thinking, this is also called shunya meditation. Just to give you a comparative thing. Okay. Even Sadhguru talks about all the shunya and all that stuff. A yoga paradigm. So savikalpa samadhi you practice, nirvikalpa happens. Nirvikalpa samadhi is something that has to happen. Like you can try to go to sleep by adjusting everything, etc. Sleep happens. Similarly, nirvikalpa samadhi happens. Now, when you are comparing it with Vedanta in our practice, etc., nididhyasanam will take place of savikalpa samadhi. Up to dhyanam, it's all fine, it's the same. Nididhyasanam is savikalpa samadhi. When that nididhyasanam, you are seeing the truth. In nididhyasanam, what are you doing? Seeing the truth of the teaching. The essence of the teaching is summed up in one sentence or one word. Aham brahmasmi iti, or Shuddham Brahman Aham Asmi, I am that pure consciousness. So when you try to see that meaning, that is nididhyasanam. Repeating what you have known. Jnana abhyasa, in other words. Now, when the mind is arrested, when that seeing is completely successful and an akhandakara vritti happens in your mind, that is when the mind becomes in nirvikalpa samadhi, because akhandakara vritti is not a separate vritti, it's a vritti that resolves everything in the recognition of the truth, because that's the nature of Brahman, it resolves everything. Therefore, nirvikalpa samadhi in Vedanta is pure knowledge. When that knowledge happens, you are successful, say, yes, that is true, and the mind is arrested in that knowledge. Maybe for a split second, maybe for hours, doesn't matter. That is called nirvikalpa in Vedanta. In yoga, it differs. There may be knowledge, there may not be knowledge. If the yogi has been exposed to Vedanta, then there will be knowledge. If not, it will become Andha Samadhi. Great for mastery of the mind. Lot of things happen with that mastered mind is always a good thing to have. That is why yoga is always looked upon as a preparation for Vedanta, because what's the greatest mastery you can have? You can think when you want, you can stop your thinking when you want. That's the greatest mastery you'll be capable of. Therefore, great preparation. Then what are you talking about? Worry, anxiety, etc. All gone like this. Because you just stopped all processes. Is this clear? Any doubts on this?
No, sorry.
Okay. If it is clear, we will go ahead. Okay. There and then from that this thing, I don't think we saw the 31st verse last time, did we?
We have to start, Swamiji.
Huh?
We have to start 31st.
31st, na? Yes. Therefore, then the 31st verse is summing up the whole thing. Chitte nischalatam yate prano bhavati nischalaha chittasya nischalasttvaya yogam sadhyanam abhyaset sadhyanam abhyaset sadhyanam dhyanena saha abhyaset chitte nischalatam yate. When the mind is quiet, the prana becomes quiet, he says. Prano bhavati nischalaha. Pranic movement is less. Therefore, chittasya nischalatvaya. For quietening your mind, keeping your mind in a peaceful state, in a contemplative state, yogam sadhyanam abhyasayet. Practice yoga along with dhyanam. Along with dhyanam means the whole ashtanga. Okay. Along with dhyanam, practice that, he says. Now look at it. Because when the mind is quiet, the prana also is quietened. The reverse also happens. When you quieten the prana, the mind gets quiet. Try it out sometime. Just focus on your breathing. Don't even do a pranayama. Just pay attention to your breathing for a few minutes. You will find the mind is also quietened down. Breathing is quieter, mind is also quieter. Just prana ikshana or prana dharana will create that. The practice of pranayama will definitely help that. Whichever pranayama it is, will help. Okay. Therefore, this is where, unless it is those pranayamas where you are stopping by force of will, subtle will, heartbeat, etc. Then when you release it, that's a different thing. Those practices are different. But generally, the softer pranayamas will always help you to quieten that mind. Okay. Therefore, he says, sir, dhyanam, along with dhyanam. When dhyana meaning now the whole 8 steps are come into place here. Because dhyanam is savikalpa samadhi. After dhyanam, next step is savikalpa samadhi. Therefore, practice all this for quietening your mind. Okay. Look at it. He is not saying practice this for moksha. Because moksham tu jnanena. Moksham tu jnanena. But that knowledge will happen in a prepared mind. Therefore, for prepared mind, a prepared mind is a contemplative mind. Therefore, to get that contemplative mind, practice this yoga. One means. A lot of other means also, because Rumpa. To get a contemplative mind is a finite goal. Therefore, kartum shakyam, akartum shakyam, anyathava kartum shakyam. Can be done, need not be done if you are not interested in it, not interested in moksha, etc. Or can be done differently. There are a lot of processes for it. One, time-honored process, because it takes care of health and other issues also. That's the advantage of it. Therefore, he recommends that. In fact, in later Vedanta, the last 1,000 years at least, or even more than that, yoga was always practiced by the Vedantins. Okay? Yoga was always practiced by the Vedantins. Even now, if you go to traditional ashrams, etc., some sort of yoga is always practiced. Okay? Some ashrams may not, but many ashrams do, because they see the benefit of it in terms of preparing your mind as well as taking care of your health. Otherwise, what happens if you see Vedantins, you don't see a single Vedantin with Vedantan over 60 without a health problem. Very rare. Very rare to see Vedanta Acharyas over 60 without a health problem. Okay? Why? Because they don't take care of their health. As simple as that. They push themselves with public talks, classes, this, that, etc. Which is a good thing anyway. That's a good thing to do. But take care of your health. That they don't. Okay? They don't do that. Many Vedanta Acharyas are guilty of that. I remember even my guru was the same, in his own words. In his 60s, when he was in his 60s, he died, he had a samadhi when he was 84 or so. But when he was in his 60s, all the health, or even late 50s, health problems had started. So I told him, Swamiji, I'll put a program for you, a 20-minute program. You can do it in your room. It'll give you a functional fitness. It'll take care of your health. Just 20 minutes. He said, that is good, but he was not keen. He didn't do it. Then in his 70s, I remember him telling in one of the classes, I wish I had listened to him. My health would have been much better today. I mean, I was moved by that. I said, this is one thing I wish I was not right. I wish I was wrong because I don't want to see him suffering. But it is a fact. Therefore, all of the students who are listening to me now, okay, or later, take care of your health. Okay? Take care of your health. It's important. Whether you're a householder or a monk or a sannyasi, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Health is important. Take care of it. Functional fitness. I'm not saying you should be able to run a marathon or fight a war. You may not need that type of fitness, but enough fitness to be functional and healthy. Okay? There is no point in being able to lift 50 pounds in each hand if you're going to have diabetes at the end. Yeah. And therefore, internal health, external fitness, both has to be taken care of. Yoga helps you with that. And there are other systems also. Like yoga, there are other systems also that help you. Whatever system you're following, please follow it and take care of it. Okay, I don't want to say more on that. Okay, and get that contemplative mind. Therefore, live a life of karma yoga. That will help you get that. Practice japa dhyanam along with that. That will also help you get that. If you don't want to do yoga, if you are a type of guy who will say, I don't want to tie my body up in knots, and therefore you follow some other exercise system, it's fine, but follow something. Okay? So that your mind remains contemplative. You can't expect a contemplative mind when your body is suffering. If you have reached that state, then there is no problem. Like my guru was. In spite of physical ill health, he was functional, he was teaching. If you have reached that state of nishtha in the jnanam, then there is no problem. But until you reach there, better take care of things. Okay. Now he is mentioning offbeat, okay, in the next verse, 32nd verse. He is just touching upon a practice. He's not elaborating it. Just touching upon a practice, okay, which will help you gain more contemplation in your life. Okay? But be careful doing all this. Akunchanam apanasya pranasya nirodhanam limbako parijukhyasta stapanam yoga sadhanam jivhaya stapanam yoga sadhanam. Akunchanam apanasya, to contract the apanaha, meaning the outgoing breath. To contract it. How do you contract it? Slowly, etc. Or to contract, pull up all the organs which are involved with apana. Your anus sphincter muscle, urinary system, perineum, etc. To contract the whole thing. Okay? Akunchanam apanasya. Pranasya cha nirodhanam, to restrain the prana. have more kumbhaka, etc. And limbikoparihi juhyasya sthapanam. Limbikopari. Limbikaha is, you know, that ulva that is hanging down from your throat. From the top, you will see that when you open your mouth wide and look at yourself, you will see that. He says rolling your tongue towards that. Very few manage to touch it. You have to have an extra long tongue to do that. You have to be a cow-like tongue. You need to be able to touch it. But to reverse the tongue in that direction, to fold back the tongue in that direction, when you are doing the pranayamas, when you are doing the dhanam, etc., is one of the yoga sadhana. Okay, but these have to be learned from a master and practice accordingly. On the net, I am not going to talk about it. Okay, more details I am not going to give, because he mentioned it. I am also translating that verse and talking about it, not more. This is one of the practices, especially when you are doing Shakti Upasana, etc., and you are involved in raising your energy upwards, etc., all that thing. Okay, it's meant for that one. So, if that is what you need to do, fine. Okay. But then learn from somebody properly. Okay. Otherwise, it can create its own problems. What you wanted good health, you end up damaging yourself. Then, because, any question? Any question, or is it clear? Don't ask me details about this particular practice, okay? One-to-one, yes, not otherwise. Okay. Then since he has been talking on the subject matter of yoga, okay. Remember, yoga is chitta vritti nirodha, and the chitta is made up of the subtle aspect of the 5 elements, correct? If you remember the Panchikaranam, the total sattvic aspect of the 5 elements have gone into making your mind. And the total rajasic aspect has gone to making your pranas. Therefore, when you gain mastery over the prana and the mind, you are really speaking gaining mastery over the 5 elements. Don't expect this mastery if you are going to a modern yoga class where they are teaching you pranayama for 15-20 minutes and you do it 3 times a week. That will give you basic functional health and some stability of the mind, which is good enough, actually speaking. Okay, which is good enough for studying Vedanta. Okay, this what he is talking about is after years of doing pranayama and dhyanam, after years of it, for intense work, long periods of time. Okay, where your practice of pranayama covers at least 1 hour every day. Only pranayamas and intense with all the pulling up, bandhas, this, that, etc. 1 hour. Okay, when you are doing about, okay, altogether I am aware of about more than 100 pranayamas. In a typical yoga class, they teach about 10 of them. Okay, but there are over 100 pranayamas, which are graded. You practice it in a graded manner. So at the final level of pranayamas, you are still doing about 12 to 15 pranayamas daily, and that takes you an hour. Okay, each pranayama practice between 9 and 18 times. Therefore, it takes time and effort. At least an hour it will take you, hour and a half it will take you. So at that level, and to gain what he is talking about, this mastery over the 5 elements, you will have to do it for 3 hours every day. So if you have that much of time and effort and want to experiment with it, you are welcome to do it. Find a teacher and do that. Okay? Or come to me, I will show you the teachers who can teach you. I can initiate you into up to about 85 of those pranayamas. Okay? Then he says, so now he is talking about, see, this is not directly concerned with Vedanta. Even if you skip this section and learn Vedanta, you will be fine. But since we are doing the Manasollasa of Sureshwara, and he has mentioned it, I am also going to explain a little bit of it, okay? So that you know what is happening, even though you may not be practicing all this, okay? Chitte nishchalatam yate prane madhyapatam gate chinhani etani jayante panchabhuta jayat prutak. Chitte nishchalatam yate, when the mind is totally quietened. Prane madhyapatam gate, and when the prana is centered in you. There is a prana centered 3 areas. Just below the navel, your heart, your third eye. In this, when it is centered, when all the energies are centered in these 3 places, known also as 3 granthis in yoga. Okay? Rudra, Brahma and Vishnu granthis, they are known as. Therefore, when they are centered, the prana is centered in these 3 granthis, and the chittam is completely in nischalatam. Chinvani etani jayanti. You will see these signs appearing in you. What do the signs appear? Not that you have become realized. No. Panchabhuta jayat prutak. Panchabhuta jayat prutak. That you are gaining mastery over the 5 elements. Because you are gained mastery over the prana and the chittam, you are gaining mastery over the 5 elements. Okay, if you gain mastery over the 5 elements, then what happens? This is what you will see. Some of these signs, he says. Some of these signs you will see. Okay, I am not going to spend too much of time on that. Let's see that. मलमूत्र कफ अल्पत्वम आरोग्यम लघुतां तनोः सुगंध स्वर्णम वर्णत्वम प्रथम योग लक्षणम. The first sign that will appear, because the first element you will master will be the Prithvi element, going in reverse order. Akasha, Vayu, Agni, Apa, Prithvi. So when you master from the Prithvi element, you will start. What is that? Mala Mutra Kapha Alpatva. Small quantities, reduced in quantities of Mala and Mutra. Your urine and dung, feces, Kapha, phlegm, etc. will become less. Alpatvam. Okay. This also happens. Okay. It's also known as shitting like a pigeon, meaning you will go 2-3 times a day, 3 or even more, but small amounts. Okay, alpatvam. Arogyam, health, because body is earth element predominantly. So arogyam. Arogyam. Okay. Lagutam tanoho. Body will become light. Body will become light doesn't mean that your weight will come down. Don't make that mistake. Don't make that mistake. Lightness of the body is in terms of how energetic and how quickly how agile you become. You gain a certain agility, lightness when you are moving around, etc. Okay. You are not going tham, tham, tham. You are not walking like that. Even if you are striding, there is a lightness in your movement. Sugandha. No body odor. Body odor is not there. Sugandha. Okay. You are making that racket. Sugandha. Okay. Please check your mics. If someone is not put it off, please put it off. There is too much of racket here. then Sugandha Swarnaha. Swarna Varnatvam. Okay. Your complexion and your voice will be very nice. Your voice will not be harsh anymore. Your words may be, but the voice tone will not be harsh. Okay. And a glow in your complexion, etc. Not fair and lovely. Okay. That's not what you are talking about here. Okay. A glow in your complexion. Okay. These are the first signs. When the signs that appear when you are practicing yoga, Ashtanga yoga, when you practice, because this is mastery over the earth element, Prithvi element. Okay, then Kantako Greshu Sangatvam Jalapankesha Amajjanam Shutrutadi Sahishnutvam Ditviyam Yoga Lakshanam. Kantako Agreshu Asangatvam. Thorns, etc. don't trouble you. Okay. Meaning, even weapons do not injure you. This is carried to extreme in the practice of martial arts, etc. We will talk about iron shirt breathing. Okay? Iron shirt breathing, where the prana flows in such a manner outside your body that they can hit you with a stick, the stick will break, nothing will happen to you. Those demonstrations, if you want, we can see sometime. Okay? Angatvam. Okay? Jalapankveshu Majnanam. When you are walking through water, or mire, swampy grounds, etc., you will be able to move through it very easily. You will not get bogged down by it. You can move through. Where others are bogged down, you can move through it very fast. Sahishnutvam, of hunger and thirst. Hunger, thirst, etc., not a problem. Hungry, theek hai. You're hungry, so what? You're thirsty, so what? Thirsty. You can go without food and drink for a long time. A 1 day fast, etc. is not a problem. What's the big deal? Nirjala Upasana, Nirjala Ekadashi, where you are not even supposed to drink water. No problems. Ho jayega. Okay. Ditviya Yoga Lakshanam, this is the second sign. Why? Because you have mastered the Apaha element, water. The water element mastery, you will gain all this. Okay. I don't think you all want me to elaborate this more, do you? You're okay with this, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes.
Bahu annapana bhoktratvam apagnihi sahishnatah darshanam shravanam durat tritiya yoga lakshanam. Bahu annapana bhoktratvam, the power to eat and drink a lot. मजा आया. भंडारा खा लो. भंडारा खाया? हाँ. कितना लड्डू खाया महाराज जी? बस 8 लड्डू खाया, इतने ज़्यादा नहीं. I've done this, okay. 8 laddus, can you imagine? 8 laddus this size? 8, 1 meal. Okay. कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. Okay. You drink lot of liquids. Annapanadi bhoktratvam. Okay. Then Atapagni sahishnata. The heat and the sun, etc. No problems. You will go for a noonday walk, and when other people are going for moonlight walks, you will go for moonlight walks and you'll be okay with that. Hot afternoon, what are you doing? अरे थोड़ा काम था, बैंक में चल रहा है. But it is so hot, why are you doing it at 1 o'clock? Crowd कम होता है. 1 o'clock you going. No problems. sun and the heat doesn't trouble you. Darshanam, Shravanam Dhurat. To be able to hear and see things far away. Even if you need specs for normal thing, you'll be able to see things far. You'll be able to hear. If you focus, you'll be able to hear things far. Tritiyam Yoga Lakshanam. This is the third Lakshana of practice of yoga. When you gain some mastery over the Agni, or Agni in your own mind and body, when you have gained power over Agni, this is what happens. This is what happens. Okay, then Manduka Plavanam Bhumo, Markata Plavanam Dhrume, Akasha Gamanam Jeti, Chaturtham Yoga Lakshanam. Manduka Plavanam Bhumo, to be able to jump like a frog. Frog jumps only 3 feet, but how many body lengths does frog jump? Similarly, you'll be able to do that. So if you want to be a long jumper, practice this. Okay. Manduka Plavanam Bhumo, Markata Plavanam Dhrume. Okay. Or jump over from tree to tree like a monkey. If you want to be Tarzan, again practice this. Okay. Akasha Gamanam Cheti. Akasha Gamanam means be able to walk on air and water. All that. What Jesus was supposed to have done. Walk over water, etc. Same way, Akasha Gamanam. I see many martial arts moving fast over water in this, okay? Because they practice some of these breathing practices. Akasha Gamanam Cheti, Chaturtham Yoga Lakshanam. This is the fourth sign of yoga, where you are mastering the air element, Vayu element in it. Jnanam Trikala Vishehi, Aishwaryam Manimadikam, Ananta Shakti Matvam Cha, Panchamam Yoga Lakshanam. Jnanam Trikala Vishayam. Okay? Knowledge, what's happening in the past, what has happened in the past, what's happening now, what's happening in the future. Means you're becoming like Ishvara? No, only when you focus. Like some of these yogis, you go and ask them, Swamiji, I don't know what will happen to my future. Whether I will get this job or not, I don't know. You go into an astrologer, he will do a prashnam and tell you. You go to a great yogi, he'll sit down and say, Nahi beta, the job is not in your hands. And you have been dead almost 90% sure of getting it. But when it comes to you don't get the job. Why? He has the ability to focus on a point and see it. Okay? To focus. This is somewhere you are connecting up with Hiranyagarbha, the cosmic mind. Okay? That's that one. Therefore, Jnanam Trikala Vishehi, Aishwarya Manimadikam, and all the Aishwaryams like Anima, Garima, etc. You hear all that, making your body heavy, making your body light, making it grow. All Hanuman was supposed to have all that. I have yet to see a human being who can become big and small, like Ant-Man. Okay, I have not seen that. Okay, Animadikam, Ananta Shakti Matvam Cha, and other endless powers that you have. Panchamam Yoga Lakshanam. This is the fifth sign of yoga when you have mastered the Akasha element. You mastered the Akasha element. Now, doing normal pranayamas, you don't get this. There are special pranayamas meant to gain mastery over the Pancha Prana, etc. Those you will have to do. Okay? And when you gain mastery over the Pancha Pranas in that manner, okay, you can even leave your body when you decide to leave. Which is interesting for sadhus. Why? If you fall too ill, etc., why be a burden for somebody? Samadhi mein baith ke chale jao. Because you gain mastery over that. Udana Vayu. Go. अच्छा है. क्या करने का है? You that students will be upset about it. One day it has to happen, so the students better learn not to be upset right now itself. Or they will get a better feeling, get upset and get over it fast. Chalo. A sadhu's death is not supposed to be cried over. It's supposed to be celebrated. Samadhi. Yeah. So 16th day Bandara is a big thing. Anyway, that apart. So these are the signs of that, the higher practices of yoga, extreme practices of yoga, if you do, you will gain this. Now, if you look at all these, tell me, do you really need all these powers? Unless you are going to be a commando fighting in Ladakh or in, again, the terrorists, etc., then some of these powers are good to have. Okay? You can frog leap over the defenses and attack them. Heat and cold is not a problem. If you don't eat, you're living on iron rations. Iron ration is a bar, okay? Just a bar and water. That's it. For days on end. Huh. People here, if you want to talk with your family, etc., please switch off your mic. So, in these things, if you want to do, then these powers are useful. For your normal life, you don't need all this, okay? Therefore,
Swamiji,
yeah,
I have a question. Swamiji.
shoot.
So, here by doing this yoga practice, and not this extreme yoga practices, but simple yoga practices and all. So one is using the free will. So how does one reconcile with the prarabdha and this free will?
With free will.
I have seen many people who practice a lot, but still they have a lot of health issues.
That is true, because one of the reasons for falling ill in Ayurveda especially is karma. Therefore, even with the practice of yoga, if you are having health issues, either it is because of karmic issues coming in, or yes, somebody said something in between. Guys, follow the discipline, okay? Or it is because they are doing some practices wrongly. You have to check the way they are practicing. Because if the pranayama practices go wrong, your internal organs will be damaged, you will have health issues. If the meditative practices go wrong, your mental balance will be affected. Therefore, there is always some place where you have to pay attention and see why this is happening. Why this is happening, you will have to see. Neeta Ben, please switch off your mic. It's making too much of a racket. I'm sorry, but I have to take names because in spite of my request, people have not done that. Okay. So, this is where, even in spite of practicing yoga, if you're falling ill, like I knew one practitioner. He is phenomenal. The level of practice he is doing is phenomenal. Okay, he can teach you pranayamas that do with all this. But every 3 years, he would meet with an accident or get some major illness. And I know there is nothing wrong with this practice. The practice is perfect. Okay? Yeah. Very clear. So when it kept on happening, I known him for 20 years now. Okay? Almost 20 years, 16, 17 years I know him. Okay? So I told him, sir, this is a problem with you. Check up karmically. And when we checked why this was happening, from his previous lifetime, there was Guru Shapa in his life. Because of that, he will not be able to go forward in his practice. Now, how will someone with so much of determination, etc., be prevented from practice. He has to suffer ill health or meet with an accident. And he is meeting with an accident every 3 years. Therefore, there is this karmic component. So to take care of that, we looked at some karmic resolutions through some Vedic rituals, etc. So if you find somebody who, in spite of a healthy practice, okay, and he is having such problems, you have to look into the karmic aspect of it. Contact Ravindra Bhatt. He'll be good. Yeah. Got it?
Yes, Swamiji.
Any other clarification necessary?
No, Swamiji.
Okay. So remember, any system that you do for anything, health, this, that, everything, will always have a limitation. Will always have a limitation. Okay. Therefore, someone practicing yoga will definitely enjoy better health. No doubt about that. But does it mean the person will never fall ill? No. No, that's not true. Will fall. Less than others maybe, but will fall. Or some accidents will happen. Some sadhyati happens and you meet with an accident on the road. Now what do you do? Yeah. What do you do? But you will bounce back faster. Why? Because your health is good. Even if you fall ill, you will bounce back faster because your health is good. Therefore, this is part of the game. And remember, our practice of yoga can be taken to this level if you want it. If you want to be a yoga acharya, though most of the yoga acharyas I have known don't have this level of practice, very few have this level. But if you want to take it to that level, you can, though it will take, you have to give 3-4 hours every day for it. Then you can. If you are doing nothing but yoga, you will be able to do it. 3-4 hours every day. More than that, you will not be able to. Less than that, you will not be able to gain all this he is talking about. 4 hours, I am talking of minimum, okay, practice. Yeah, to gain all the siddhis, etc. And to gain anima, etc., all those types of siddhis, whole life should go in practice, whole day should go in the practice. That means you are doing nothing else. Not possible in today's world. Okay? Not possible in today's world to do that. Okay. Nor is it necessary. As I said, it will help if you are taking part in rescue operations. Yes. If you have any of these powers, it will help you. If you are a commando handling terrorists, etc., this will help you. But our commandos are handling terrorists without any of these powers. Okay. With their discipline and their training, they are handling it. Yes, having these powers makes it easier, that's all. Yeah. Therefore, it's up to each one to decide how much they want to do. I personally would advise people to do it to ensure good health and a contemplative mind. That is important. So do enough of these practices to quieten your mind, to enjoy good health. That's enough. And study Vedanta. Spend that time, use of 3-4 hours there, spend 1 hour there, and then spend some time on the study of Vedanta, because that will directly take you to moksha. Okay. Many people who have gained moksha don't have any of these powers. They may even suffer from poor health, like Swami Chinmayanji, Puja Swami Dayanji, etc. They all suffered from poor health. But they realize souls, they got what it matters. Then what does it matter whether your health is good or bad? Once you gain moksha, does it really matter? It matters to you. Okay, practice enough to take care of it. That's a good thing to do. Yeah. Why ignore the body? Yeah. You take enough care. Do enough for your functional fitness. Do enough. Okay. All right. Then he is talking about some certain things that happen in meditation, etc. Okay, but since he says it, I will talk about it, not elaborately, but okay. प्राणे सुषुम्नां संप्राप्ते नादो अंतश्रूयदष्टदा घंटद्वंतभिः शंकादिभिः वीणावाणादि तालवत्. Okay. When the prana functions through the Sushumna Nadi, Sushumnam Samprapti, that's right at the center of your body, okay? The core of your body, when it is functioning through that, he says, Nadha Antashruya Dashtada. When you are sitting in meditation, okay, you will hear these 8 sounds within you. When you are sitting in meditation and the prana is moving in the Sushumna Nadi and it is going through the various chakras, you will hear some of these sounds. Okay, 8 sort of sounds. It is Gantaha, bell. Okay, but we have to be sure that it is not the neighbor doing some arati when you are doing your meditation. Okay, Gantaha. Dundahu, Dundubihi, there's a drum. Shankaha, there's a conch. Okay, Abdihi, the sound of waves, ocean, etc. Veena, okay, Veena, then Venu, Venu is a flute. Okay, Adi, Talavat, and cymbals, etc. Meaning, you will hear various sounds of various types of sounds. Don't look for these sounds in meditation because he has said it. Okay, let me see whether my prana is moving through the Sushumna. So I am sitting down for meditation. Do you hear the sound? Remember, when you are sitting in meditation and you want to hear a sound badly enough, very badly you want to hear a sound, your mind will project that sound and you can hear jingle bells also. Okay. Yeah. I want to hear jingle bells. You will hear jingle bells. Because the mind will project it. These are things that will happen on its own. Let it happen. You are supposed to ignore all these things. Let it happen. Why do you want it to happen inside your body? Outside there aren't enough disturbances for your meditation. What? So why do you want more disturbance? It's okay. Okay. So these are all things that happen. He is mentioning it so that you are not disturbed by this. Oh my God, what is wrong? What's wrong with me? I'm hearing all that. Like there is an interesting case. I took this young girl to meet my astrologer friend Ravindra Bhatt. Many of you know him. Why? Because her life she is having a lot of issues, lot of problems, etc. So we went, met, and he advised her what to do, what not to do, etc. Because there were some karmic issues. And we come out, we have to pass through a place where a lot of homas and all generally happen. Though that day there was nothing happening. And this girl turns around to me and says, "Sir, is this a place where they do a lot of chanting?" I said, "Yeah, why?" "I can hear those chantings." I said, "Wow, good." She had the ability to hear the chanting which had happened last evening. Because she is also a yoga practitioner. But life is a mess. Life is a mess. So better put your life in order first. No? By hearing the chanting that happened yesterday, what are you gaining? Nothing. By putting your life in order, what are you gaining? A lot. Okay. So be careful what you select and what you practice. But he mentions these sounds are heard. If you hear them, okay. If you don't hear them, even better. Fine. Then what happens? Tanupata tipitara tara esha ta upanupamam Brahmanadim gater prane bimbarupam prakashate. Brahmanadir gate prane. Again, when the prana moves in the Brahmanadi, what we heard he said, Brahmanadi is the Sushumna Nadi, the main energy pathway in the center of your body. Okay. Very often said through the spine. Okay. Yeah. Not really through the spine, that is just given as this thing. Okay. Then what? He says, then Ishvara appears to you. Like what? You will see these things, okay? Not here, see. Fire, a flash of lightning, stars, the sun and the moon, all this you will see as Ishvara's manifestation in your seat of meditation. So why do you need seat of meditation? I see it live without that. The sun is there, moon is there in the night. I'll see it. Lightning, of course, better not see. Some 96 people died in BR and UP because of lightning. Okay. Fire I see. Whenever I go to the kitchen to make a cup of tea, I see fire all right. The idea is that you may get such visions like this. Because when you are doing energy work and then you are meditating, these things will happen. Don't be disturbed by this. The idea is that. Okay? The idea is that. Because when you do a lot of energy work, it is all created by the energy patterns moving in your system, in your eyelids, etc. Because of this, in your brain functions, certain changes are happening. When these changes are happening, changes are positive. But you may see all these things because certain areas of your brain are stimulated by the energy. There are reasons for it. The energy movement may be non-scientific because science doesn't have a way of measuring it. But what happens in this is that certain areas of your brain are stimulated, etc. And because of that, you are seeing some of these things. All Ishvara's manifestations, take it like that. Swamiji, I am doing a lot of energy work, nothing is happening. Very good. You are going straight into Nirvikalpa without all these things. Excellent. Okay. So don't look for it to happen. If you see it, don't worry about it. That's the idea. If certain things like this happen in meditation, don't worry about it. Prajnaya nisango bhave. With the knowledge, the wisdom that you have, become asangaha. Don't get involved in them. Be a silent witness to all that. Sakshi bhava should come in there. If these things are you find happening in your body, happening in your mind, etc., be the sakshi, the witness of it. Let it come and go. Certain changes are happening in your system. They are beneficial changes. Let them happen. Don't get involved in them. You are not supposed to get involved in them. You got involved enough in the practices for these changes to happen. Let it happen. Let it happen. You remain uninvolved. Why? Because you are not the body nor the mind. You are not the body nor the mind. Then why are you bothered about it? If it happens, let it happen. Nah. They are good changes. They are good changes. Don't say, hey, yesterday I saw the sun, today I'll see the moon. Want to see the moon? Go on the terrace and look at the moon. You'll see it. Why do you have to see it in meditation? Therefore, prajnaya nisango bhave. This is important. That's why Sureshwara is mentioning it. You are not supposed to get involved in the whole thing. No. Be detached. What has to happen? Let it happen. What can happen, may happen, let it happen. If it doesn't happen, also is fine. It is not that if this doesn't happen, those changes are not taking place. No, those changes can take place without these signs also. So if you are doing energy work, pranayamas, and if you are doing meditation, etc., some of the beneficial changes happen in your system. Don't look, it's not that only if the signs are there, beneficial changes are happening. That's not true. Any questions or clarifications on this?
No, Swamiji. No, Swamiji.
Okay. Because remember, we are doing all these things to get a mind that's meant to understand Vedanta. So the important thing is how you are going to work on understanding Vedanta. I never touched on any of these systems when I was, until I gained some nishtha in Vedanta, I never touched any of these systems. And most Vedantins will advise their students not, in fact, they'll be dismissive about all this. In today's world, most Vedantins are dismissive about all this. Why? Because these are disciplines that if you don't have your priorities right, you can get bogged down in. You really can get bogged down in. Therefore, many masters, many teachers, including my own guru, Swami Dhananji, was dismissive over all these things. It's true. Because he didn't want the students to get bogged down. Because it's all part of the Mithya world. Your body and mind, etc. is part of the Mithya world. What happens in the body and mind is also Mithya world. But this is cosmic energy. Cosmic energy is also part of the Mithya world. But as Mithya it is true. Yeah, that much validity is there. As Mithya it is true. Yes, that much validity is there. Therefore, if your body is valid, these things are also valid. That much validity is there. Not more than that. Nor less than that. Okay, fine. I am willing to give that much. Some Vyavahara Yogyatvam is there. But to get bogged down in this is not healthy. It's not healthy. Therefore, I started personally in my life, I started experimenting with all this only 20-25 years back. Just to see, is this all there or kahani hai? They are telling stories. Arthavada, praise to make people do some practices. They are putting a carrot on a stick. You are riding a donkey with a carrot tied to a stick hanging in front of the donkey, and the donkey is keeping on walking because he thinks he is going to get the carrot. Is this like that? So I experimented with some of them. Time consuming experiment. But sadhu hai, time hai na. Kya karne ka? Especially I was going through a phase where nothing was going to work in my life. 20 years. Phase where nothing is going to work out. So only my classes and some of these practices I used to do just to check out whether it is true or not. And I found, yeah, some of them are true. What I checked out, verified, some of it is functionally true. Vyavahara Yogitvam is there for them. But, yeah. So take care of my health. All right, fine. So I enjoy good health now, God's grace, and my practices. Thank God for that. That much. More than that, what do you want to do? Hey, moksha is the biggest gain of all. All siddhis pale into insignificance before the infinite consciousness that you are. You are that infinite being. That's the greatest achievement you can ever have in your life, to recognize Aham Brahmasmi. Everything else falls short. Everything else falls short of this. So why are you, what siddhi do you want? The siddhi of moksha or the siddhi of doing small things? Yeah. Therefore, go for the greatest siddhi of them all. Moksha ki, Atma Jnanam. Go for that. Not anything else. Not anything else. Therefore, it's good to do some of these practices for various reasons that I have talked about throughout the class, but not to get bogged down in any of them. Not to let you distract from the goal of moksha that you have. The goal of knowledge, Atma Jnanam that you have, not to get distracted from that. But apart from that, some of these things you can do, not a problem. As long as you are clear about what you are doing it for. Like I was doing it for experimenting. I was clear to check out the validity of all of it and to take care of my health. Because just before I started the practices, I had a very heavy phase in my life where I was running around and doing so much of work that I had put on some weight. I had lost the fitness that I had tremendous amount of fitness. So I got back into it to get back my health and my fitness, etc. So good. So I'm fitter now than when I am in my 50, Yeah. So that's fine. So for that much is good. But Swamiji, if you do more practice, you will become even more. For what? That's like, when people go to a gym, the gym trainers will say, I would take, okay, just sharing something. 50-pound dumbbells in each hand and do upright press, military presses, 50 pounds in each hand, 15 reps. Sahuji, itna reps mat karo. They would say, increase weight, do only 8 to 10 reps in increase weight. I said, why? You'll become stronger. Why? I'm not going to be a coolie in the railway station carrying that much of pound. As it is, I'm lifting 100 pounds. What are you talking about? 50 pounds in each hand. Why do you want to do more? My interest is martial art. Therefore, I am training for endurance, not for greater strength. My strength will come from my speed and from my focus and my breathing practices. I don't need physical strength so much. I need endurance more. Are you getting? So don't lose sight of what you are practicing for. This was the days when I used to go to the gym 20 years ago. So don't lose sight. What is your purpose of all this? Moksha, Atmajnanam. If that is your focus, do enough to get a contemplative mind and good health. Enough. Not more than that. You don't have to spend 4 hours a day doing all these practices. 1 hour, okay, I can understand. Spend 1 hour a day. Spend 1 hour a day on Vedanta, both of them. Great. You'll gain moksha like this. Without you knowing it, you'll have. Clear? Or any questions or clarifications?
No, Swamiji.
Okay. Then, in the next verse, few verses, he is connecting Omkara and Pranava with yoga also, and eventually with moksha. He is doing all that, which we will see in the next class. But I will be meeting all of you not on next Sunday. Next Sunday, of course, we will meet. But I will meet all of you on Saturday for the Guru Purnima program. Okay? All of you got it?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So have a great day. Take care.